next game that was even more exciting over the weekend. I would love to talk about my Tennessee Volunteers, who scored 28 points in the first quarter against South Carolina and beat the dog's not out of them. So I had a great weekend. All my teams won so far. So I'm happy. But no, we got to talk about the big one of the weekend, Alabama. I mentioned them earlier that they took an L to Texas A&M. And I can recall somebody saying that was the game that they were probably going to lose on our preview show. I literally said that if there was any game that they have on their schedule to be afraid of, it's going to be A&M because it's at College Station. And I don't think Alabama's as dominant as they normally are. And they proved that, guess what? They're not as dominant as they normally are. They went out to College Station and lost on a last-minute field goal, 41-38. It was a thriller. It was a good game. Like I said, I got to watch and see it all in pieces. It was a fantastic display of football. Bryce Young looked like he deserves to be in conversation. Brian Robinson looked good. But the biggest problem you run into in that game is that A&M was just ready. Problem with A&M is that this team we probably should have seen a long time ago. So, Jimmy, what did you think about – do you think that Alabama has put themselves out? Is it fair to say that Alabama is going to be out of the college football playoff because of this loss?
No, not because of this loss, but it will be because of the next one if there is a next one. No, they're one of those protected teams. They're one of the teams that makes the college football playoff television show what it is.
Yeah.
So I think there's a reason why Alabama getting beat by an unranked Texas A&M, right, at least as far as the poll that we have right now, only dropped to 5. Whereas most teams getting beat by an unranked team, you're probably looking at 8, 9, maybe even out of the top 10. And by right, you should be getting beat by an unranked team. So, no, they're a protected team. I think that in this game, they didn't play a bad game.
No.
As a matter of fact, I couldn't figure out, because I watched bits and pieces of this, not the whole thing. I couldn't figure out how they lost because I looked at it football-wise. I said, all right, Bama was way better on third down. So they're moving the chains more. They had better rushing numbers, better passing numbers. I was like, how did they lose? Then I saw it. Alabama, turnovers, 2. Texas A&M, 1.
Yep.
That was the game right there.
There's your L.
Yep.
That's how you lose games. You lose games because of turnovers. And it's funny because Alabama, as you mentioned, unranked. Do you want to hear a crazy stat?
Yes.
Alabama was on a 100-game winning streak that was snapped by losing to A&M. They beat 100 straight unranked opponents, and they lost. Oklahoma also is the current holder of the longest active winning streak in college football at 14.
Yes.
Iowa's right behind them at 12, and Georgia's at 10, which is interesting. But Alabama, 100 straight games snapped. Snapped because they lost to A&M.
So then is that to say, all right, so looking at the polls or the pollsters, would you say that they looked at this and said, or a big part of the reason why Alabama didn't fall further than 5 was because Texas A&M, though unranked, probably should not have been unranked?
I think it's because it was a road game. Last second field goal is the only reason why Alabama didn't drop as far. And it's a pseudo rivalry game. Alabama's always had problems with A&M. That's probably the one. I mean, Johnny Manziel ate them alive. And in this game, they lost. The other thing is that because A&M lost 2 straight games to teams that they shouldn't. Well, Arkansas's ranked. They ranked 16th when they lost to them. And then Mississippi State, which that should not have been a loss. They lost to them at home. They should definitely have been unranked, but we know that A&M's better than advertised. Those 2 losses don't define them, but it shows you that they can be beaten. They played 5 straight home games.
Texas A&M?
6.
6 straight home games?
They had to have a neutral site game in here somewhere, but good God, this is crazy. Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. Didn't Jimbo Fisher basically say he was going to kick Nick Saban's ass before this?
He really did.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Which I thought was crazy, but, I mean, apparently Jimbo Fisher, who has a national title, knew what he was talking about. So when you think about that, that was important because you combine them taking care of the ball better, plus a coach who's a leader of the team who believes, who therefore can make his team believe. I think that was a big piece of this, too, is they went into this game actually believing they could win this game.
That's true. And my bad, Arkansas was actually at home when they beat them, when they beat A&M, but they were A&M was at home and they lost to Mississippi State. Right. So it's like they don't have the listing of home or away, and it's like they should. But anyway, no, you're right. Jimbo Fisher said he was going to beat him. Out there and beat him.
He did it.
I can't be mad at the guy. He said he was going to do it. And to be honest, this I guess you could say for some, it solidifies the reason why he got that extension at the beginning of the season. They said that this year, we're going to beat Alabama. So if you pay me more now, you will look good for doing it. In which I still think it's stupid to pay this dude more money, and they have no national title to show for it because you got 2 losses. there's zero chance you're going to play for the national title this year. You're not making it to the playoff because there won't be a 2-loss team up there.
True.
I mean, at most, there'll be 1-loss teams. I think Oregon's going to have 1 loss. Hell, Michigan might have 1 loss. They may not, the way they're playing this year. Mm-hmm. Penn State got 1 loss. They may not lose no more. Iowa will probably lose 1. Mm-hmm. So, and that's probably going to be the Iowa State. We don't know. So, as at this point, they're paying this guy to continuously stay mediocre at A&M, at a school that's got the pride and the money to spend and be like Texas, but can never be Texas. Mm-hmm. They're desperately wanting to be. But Alabama's not as dominant as they usually are, but they're still not bad. So
no, they're still solid.
They're still a very solid team. I mean, I'm still terrified of them for the rest of the season. Hell, They play against my Vols coming up in 2 weeks, and I think we're going to probably lose by 30. Even though skills-wise, we have players that can keep up with them. Mm-hmm. Overall, Heupel has put together a solid offense that we can keep up with them on. But yeah, my Vols are going to probably get the dog snot kicked out of us. We're going to be like a 20-point. We're a 20-point dog, I think, in this game already, and you're not even close to the game yet. So
right.
I don't know. We'll see. Alabama next week has at Mississippi State, so they got back-to-back road games. We'll see if they can handle this, but honestly, I think they'll be fine. They'll bounce back. They'll win. It's Nick Saban.
Yeah.
We ain't concerned.